have a child with me, and you don't have to take responsibility. He looked up at me. Sophia, do you know what you're saying? Of course I do. I just want a little of your excellent genes. You wouldn't be too stingy to give that, would you? He let out a soft hmm. After all these years of searching, you finally found me here? Who knew my genes could only match yours? I curved my lips. I can't conceive with anyone else. William snorted, suddenly stood up, walked around the table toward me, and said, I can give it to you. But I have a condition. I raised my eyebrows. Speak. You have to do it yourself. He paused. Come and take it. I have never hidden my interest in men. Before I turned 25, I believed in love. For a man named William, I even walked into the grave of marriage. What was the result? He loved his career, and I was just a stepping stone on his path to success. On the day of the divorce, he even had his assistant appear in court for him. When I signed the papers, I thought to myself, I will never believe in love again. Since then, when others talk about love and relationships, I talk about conditions, looks, and how I feel. Men came one after another, showering me with flowers, diamonds, and luxury cars. They threw every romantic gesture they could think of at me. But I have my limits. I may be wild, but I never sleep with anyone. Even if they spread roses on the bed and hid rings in champagne, I would just smile and say, little brother, you're not worthy. Even today, as I sit in the cold, white conference room of the fertility clinic, I hear the doctor's final words, Sophia, your genes are unique. Out of the samples you provided, only one matches. I furrow my brow. Who? A name popped up on the screen. William. My ex-husband. I couldn't believe it and glanced at the detailed report. There were 6 potential candidates, all with a match rate below 75%. But William had a 99.8% match rate. I have a genetic defect that makes it difficult for me to conceive a normal child. But I wanted a soft and cuddly little bundle, so I had to resort to IVF. But after going around in circles, I ended up back with William. He was indeed the most dazzling card I had turned over. Unfortunately, he was also the craziest one. I paused for 3 seconds, then smiled, set up a meeting with him. Tell him I have something important to discuss. 3 days later, I sat in the coffee shop where William often went to wait for him. He showed up on time, still dressed like an elite lawyer, but his eyes were colder than they had been 3 years ago. What's up? He sat down across from me, skipping the pleasantries. I pushed the report over to him. Watching his expression change from indifference to astonishment, then to some kind of unfathomable emotion, the whole process took no more than 10 seconds. Then came the scene at the beginning. Come and get it yourself? I repeated his words. William, what era are we in? Are you still playing these primitive games? If you don't want to play, then forget it. He stood up straight and made to leave. I grabbed his sleeve and said, wait. He looked down at me, a smile in his eyes. Have you come to your senses? I have conditions. Speak. A purely physical relationship, no emotions involved. After we're done, you'll sign an agreement relinquishing your parental rights. William stared at me silently for a long time, so long that I thought he was going to refuse. It's a deal, he said suddenly. Tonight, at my place. The door opened slowly. William stood behind it, his white shirt loose and untucked, the top 2 buttons undone, a glass of wine in his hand. He exuded a carefree sensuality. You're here? He stepped aside to let me in. Would you like something to drink? No need. I walked straight into the living room, placed the prepared agreement on the coffee table, and said, sign first. He glanced at it and said, in such a hurry? Business is business. William smiled, a smile that sent a chill down my spine. Sophia, you haven't changed a bit in 3 years. You're still so heartless. Same here, I replied coldly. Weren't you just as decisive back then? The air suddenly fell silent. He put down his wine glass and slowly approached me. I was decisive? Who signed the divorce agreement so readily? Who moved out without leaving a single thing behind? That's because you never loved me. He interrupted me, his voice filled with suppressed madness. All you loved was the thrill of conquest, treating me like just another one of your many conquests. I took a step back. William, we're not here to bring up the past. Yes, we're here to make a deal. He took a step closer, his eyes dark as night. Let's begin. The next second, he suddenly grabbed my waist and pinned me against the wall. Wait. What are you waiting for? His breath was hot. You want my jeans, don't you? Then take them. That night, we were like two evenly matched opponents, fighting on the battlefield of desire. He was crazy enough to vent 3 years of resentment in one night. And I had sunk into this madness. Until dawn, he bit my ear and said, Sophia, you can't escape this time. I didn't answer. I woke up early. To be precise, I was awakened by a pain in my waist. Anyone would feel that pain. William was still fast asleep, one arm across my waist as if afraid I would run away. I carefully moved his hand away and got out of bed silently. My clothes were scattered all over the floor, and I picked them up one by one and put them on. Before leaving, I spread out the agreement I had prepared earlier on the coffee table, reading each word calmly. Party B, Sophia, has the right to decide on her own regarding pregnancy, childbirth, and parenting. Party A, William, will not intervene, or take responsibility. Next to it was a bottle of hangover medicine and a note, thanks for your hard work last night. Looking forward to working with you again. I glanced one last time toward the bedroom, then turned and left without looking back. As the elevator descended, I touched the mark on my neck. William had indeed gone wild last night, as if he wanted to leave a mark on me. You want my seed, so I'll make sure you remember who planted it, he said. So what? All I want is an excellent child, not a complicated relationship. The sound of water in the bathroom stopped. William came out wrapped in a towel, water droplets sliding down his well-defined chest muscles. Awake? Want something to eat? The living room was empty. His gaze fell on the coffee table, where he saw the agreement and the note. His expression darkened instantly. Happy cooperation? He picked up the paper with a cold smile and tore it into pieces. Sophia, you really think I'm a stud? He dialed his assistant's number, his voice as cold as ice. Find out where Sophia is right now. Also, cancel all my appointments for today. William, there's an important court hearing today. Cancel it. He interrupted, does she think she can just sleep with someone and run away? How naive. I just left the fertility clinic with the test results in my hand. Although it's still too early to tell, I wanted to confirm. When I looked up, I saw William's car parked at the door. He leaned against the car door, dressed in a black shirt and black pants, looking as cold and stern as a drawn sword. You ran pretty fast. He walked straight toward me. I didn't run, I said calmly. I just had to go. Time to go? He snatched the report from my hand and glanced at it. So eager to confirm your results? That's my business. Your business? William suddenly laughed, a laugh that sent a chill down my spine. Sophia, have you forgotten that half of that child is mine? You signed the agreement. I didn't sign it. He tore up the report, and the pieces scattered like snowflakes. Do you think I'll just sign because you say so? Do you think I'm that easy to fool? I took a deep breath. What do you want? He took a step closer, grabbed the back of my neck, and said, either you abort the baby, or what? Or come home with me. His voice was low and terrifying. Choose one. Are you crazy? I shook off his hand. William, we agreed. Agreed? He sneered. Who agreed with you? You unilaterally drafted the agreement, I never agreed to it. Then what about last night? Last night, I was just doing what you asked. His eyes darkened. but just because we didn't finish doesn't mean we can just walk away. I took a step back and looked at the man in front of me again. After 3 years, he seemed even more obsessed. "William, we're divorced." "So what?" he said dismissively. "Divorce means you can't have children? You can't start over?" "Start over?" I laughed. "Have you forgotten how you treated me in the beginning?" His expression changed. What is that?" I interrupted him. "That means you chose your career, you chose your future, but you didn't choose me. Now you want to talk about starting over? William, don't you find that ridiculous?" I admit it was my fault at first. His voice suddenly dropped. "But Sophia, I haven't gone a single day in the past 3 years without regretting it." I was stunned. This was the first time William had ever admitted his mistake in front of me. "Is regret useful?" I said coldly. "Time cannot be reversed, and feelings are dead when they are dead." "Then why did you come looking for me?" he pressed. "If you really let go, why didn't you find someone else?" "Because you have good genes," I said without batting an eyelid. "That's all." William stared at me for a long time, then suddenly smiled. "Really? Then when you called my name last night, was that also because of your good genes?" My face flushed instantly. "You. Sophia, don't lie to yourself." He leaned close to my ear, his voice seductive. "You still love me. You're so self-absorbed." I pushed him away. Sophia, never go back on my word." "Is that so?" He pulled out his phone. "Then how do you explain this?" The screen showed a surveillance video. It was me last night when I left, in the elevator. In the video, I was leaning against the elevator wall, my hand resting on my neck, and the corners of my lips were curled into a faint, longing smile. "You?" I looked at him in shock. "You installed surveillance in the elevator?" "I'm a lawyer. Of course I have to protect my legal rights." He put away his phone. "Including getting back what belongs to me." "I'm not a thing." "You are." He suddenly pushed me against the car door. "You are my treasure." This title made me tremble all over. It was what he used to call me most affectionately in bed. "William, it's over," I said through gritted teeth. "Over?" His fingers gently caressed my cheek. "Since you've come back, there will be a price to pay." "What price?" "You." He spoke slowly, emphasizing each word. "I want you to come back to me." I sneered. "You're dreaming." "Then we'll see you in court." He took a step back and straightened his collar. "I will sue you for violating my reproductive rights and custody rights as the child's biological father." "You dare?" "You watch me." He opened the car door. "I'll give you 3 days to think it over. Either come back, or, we'll settle this in court." With that, he drove off, leaving me alone in the wind, feeling utterly defeated. This madman, how dare he? I didn't sit around waiting for disaster to strike. The next day, I found the best legal team in the city to prepare for any lawsuit William might file. "Sophia, I'm sorry to say this," the lead lawyer pushed his glasses up his nose. "If the other side really is William's lawyer, this is going to be a tough fight." "Why?" "First, he is a top family lawyer in the industry and has never lost a case. Second, when it comes to reproductive rights, the law does protect the father's right to know. Third." "Third what?" The lawyer hesitated. "Third, as far as I know, William has refused all divorce cases for the past 3 years. Some say it's because his own marriage failed, and he doesn't want to get involved in other people's emotional entanglements." I fell silent. "So, I suggest you settle this privately," said the lawyer. "Settle? How is that possible?" Just as I was about to say something, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. "Hello? Sophia, this is Rinji Hospital. There was a problem with your test results from yesterday. We need you to come back." My heart sank. "What kind of problem?" "It's not convenient to discuss over the phone. Please come in as soon as possible." After hanging up, I rushed to the hospital. However, when I arrived, I found that there was no problem report. In the consultation room, William was sitting leisurely in the doctor's chair. "You don't get excited," he stood up. "It's not good for the child." "What child?" "I don't even know if I'm pregnant yet." "You will be," he said with certainty. "My success rate is always high." "William, what are you trying to do?" He walked up to me and suddenly knelt down on one knee. I was stunned. "You." He pulled a velvet box out of his pocket, containing a diamond ring. It wasn't an engagement ring, but our wedding ring from years ago. "Sophia, give me a chance." He looked up at me with an expression I had never seen before, his eyes filled with sincerity. "Let me try to win you back." "You're crazy." I instinctively took a step back. "William, we can't go back." "Why can't we go back?" He stood up. "Sophia, you've had 7 boyfriends in the past 3 years, and the longest one didn't last more than 3 months. Don't you think that says something? It means I like new things and hate old ones. It means you still have feelings for me." He moved closer. "Otherwise, why are all of them lawyers? Why do all of them look like me?" I was speechless. Damn it, how did he know? "I hired a private detective." He seemed to notice my confusion. "I'm sorry, but I need to know about my rival." "You're sick." "Yes, I'm sick." He admitted it openly. "Ever since you left, I've been sick. Sophia, William, have been ruined by you." I looked at him and saw vulnerability on this man's face for the first time. In my impression, William had always been strong, cold, and in control of everything. But now, he was like a gambler, pushing all his chips in front of me. "William." "1 month," he said. "Give me 1 month. If you still refuse after 1 month, I will sign away all my rights and never bother you again." "Are you serious?" "I swear." He raised his right hand. "I swear on my career." For William, this was the heaviest vow he had ever made. I bit my lip. "What if I get pregnant?" "Then you must give me a chance." He smiled. "I can't let my child be born into a broken home." "William, you promise me." He held my hand. "Just 1 month." His palm was so hot it made my heart race. Damn it, why am I falling for him? In the end, I agreed. It wasn't because of his threats, but because I wanted to know if I still had feelings for him. When I moved back to the familiar villa, I felt a moment of confusion. It had been 3 years, and everything here was the same. "All your things are in the master bedroom," William said, carrying my luggage upstairs. "The walk-in closet has been renovated, so there should be enough space for your new clothes." I followed behind him. "I can stay in the guest room." "No way." He turned around. "You said you'd give me a month, so we should act like a normal couple." "We're not a couple. The courtship period counts." He spoke with conviction. I rolled my eyes, pushed open the master bedroom door, and froze. The room was filled with calla lilies, my favorite flowers. The dressing table was covered with my favorite brand of skincare products. Even more outrageous was that there was a photo of me on the bedside table. "For the past 3 years, I've fallen asleep looking at your photo every night." He said behind me, "Even though you're not here, at least the photo is." My nose suddenly felt a little sore. "You're being sentimental." I turned my face away. He smiled and put his arm around my waist. "Then why are you crying?" "Who's crying?" I glared at him. "Don't flatter yourself." "Oh, I must have seen wrong." He lowered his head and kissed the corner of my eye. "It must be because I miss you so much that I'm hallucinating." The kiss came so suddenly that I instinctively tried to dodge it, but he held me by the back of my head. "Don't move," he whispered against my lips, "just for a moment." But that moment ignited all my rationality. When I came to my senses, I was already pinned down on the bed. "William." He buried his face in my neck. Call me husband. Get out. No way. He looked up at me, his eyes full of teasing. Unless you call me husband. Are you being childish? In front of you, I can be childish forever. Hearing such sweet words come out of William's mouth was utterly incongruous. Yet, strangely enough, I found it a little sweet. During the first week of living together, William was like a completely different person. Before, he was always dressed in a suit and tie, strictly professional. Now, he wears casual clothes and cooks breakfast in the kitchen. He brings me midnight snacks when I work late. He even watches boring idle dramas with me. Aren't you very busy? I asked, biting into the sandwich he made. I canceled everything, he said, sitting across from me and watching me eat. This month, I'm all yours. William, you don't have to do this. I want to do this, he said earnestly. Sophia, I missed out on so much before, and now I want to make up for it. I put down my sandwich. You can't make up for it, William. You can't turn back time. I know, he said, reaching out to hold my hand. But at least let me try. His fingers were long and strong, with clearly defined knuckles. I remember how I used to love playing with his hands, counting each finger one by one like a fool. What are you thinking about? He asked. Nothing, I said, pulling my hand away. He smiled, thinking about the past? How did you know? Because I was thinking the same thing. He leaned forward. I was thinking about the first time we met, when you were drunk and grabbed my hand, saying, "Big brother, your hands are so beautiful, can I touch them?" My face turned bright red. William. Then you really touched it, he continued, from the fingers to the arm, and finally. Shut up. I covered his mouth. He laughed in my palm, making my heart flutter. In the second week of living together, I went to the hospital for a checkup. William insisted on accompanying me, but I refused. This is a private matter, I said. How can pregnancy be just your private matter? He said indignantly. I'm the father of the child. There's no guarantee there's a child yet. It will happen, he said confidently. I told you, my success rate is very high. The results came back, and I was indeed pregnant. Looking at the tiny gestational sac on the ultrasound report, I felt a bit dazed. A little life had taken root inside me. How is it? William waited anxiously outside the clinic. I handed him the report. He glanced at it and excitedly picked me up and spun me around. I'm going to be a father. Put me down. I pounded him. This is a hospital. He finally noticed the stares of those around him and sheepishly put me down, but he couldn't hide the smile on his face. Thank you, Sophia, he said suddenly. Thank you for what? Thank you for agreeing to have our child. He touched my belly. I swear, this time I won't let you down again. Looking into his gentle eyes, my defenses began to crumble. William, you bastard, why give me hope when I was ready to let go? I didn't tell anyone about the pregnancy, not even my group of friends. Until I ran into Ava at the mall. Sophia, she looked at me in surprise. What are you doing in the maternity section? Me. Just passing by. Passing by? She looked at me suspiciously. You wouldn't be. No. I denied it vehemently. Then explain why William is picking out radiation suits over there. She pointed to a spot not far away. I looked over and saw William asking the shop assistant something seriously. Oh no, we're busted. Are you back together? Ava asked with a gossipy look on her face. No. Then why is he here? And picking out maternity products? That's because we're trying to start over. William walked over at some point and naturally put his arm around my waist. Hi, Rain. Ava's jaw dropped. You too, really? Yeah. William admitted it openly. I'm pursuing my wife. Ex-wife. I corrected him. Sooner or later, you'll drop the X dot. He smiled confidently. Ava looked at him, then at me, and finally blurted out, "You're awesome." After Ava left, I shook William's hand off. "Who told you to say that?" "I'm telling you the truth." He held up the shopping bag in his hand. "It's radiation-proof clothing. The doctor said it's best to wear it as soon as possible. I'll buy it myself." "I want to buy it for you," he said earnestly. "Sophia, let me take care of you, okay?" I turned my face away. "It's up to you." He smiled, took my hand, and said, "Let's go eat." "I'm not hungry." "The baby is hungry." I couldn't argue with that. At the restaurant, he carefully ordered a meal for pregnant women and specifically asked for less oil and salt. "When did you learn all this?" I asked. "I crammed it all in the past 2 weeks." He pulled out a copy of Pregnancy Guide from his bag. "Look, I've taken notes." I flipped through the book, which was filled with dense annotations and notes. When to supplement what nutrients, what not to eat, what to pay attention to, every little detail. My heart skipped a beat. "William, I know you don't trust me yet." He closed the book. "But Sophia, give me time to prove myself, okay? What if I still don't feel anything after a month?" He paused for a moment. "Then I'll keep my promise and sign away all my rights. But I hope you'll let me see the child regularly." "Is that it?" "That's it." He smiled bitterly. "I can't really force you. I already missed my chance 3 years ago, and I don't want to miss it again." Seeing how lonely he looked, I suddenly felt a pang of pity. In the 3rd week, I ran into James while viewing an exhibition at an art gallery. James was the longest-lasting of my many exes. We dated for 2 months. The reason we broke up was simple: he wanted too much, and I couldn't give it to him. "Sophia?" He elegantly walked over with a glass of champagne. "Long time no see." "It has been a while," I replied indifferently. His gaze lingered on me, finally settling on my flat stomach. "I heard you've been busy lately?" "The news travels fast." "It's none of your business." "Don't be so cold." He smiled. "We were once." "Once nothing." I interrupted him. "Really?" He leaned closer. "I remember you didn't say that. You said I was the one who understood you best." "That's just polite talk." "Sophia, you're still so heartless." He shook his head. "But I'm curious, what kind of man could make you want to have children?" I was about to answer when a familiar voice came from behind me, the father of her child. William appeared out of nowhere, naturally wrapping his arm around my waist, and nodded politely yet distantly at James. "Hello, I'm William." "I've heard a lot about you," James said, looking at him meaningfully. "William's name is one I've heard before." "You flatter me," William replied politely, tightening his grip slightly without anyone noticing. "How interesting," James said, looking at me and then at William. "We've come full circle. Sophia, it seems you're not as carefree as you appear." "Mr. James." William spoke up, his voice still gentle. "My wife is in the early stages of pregnancy and should not stand for long periods of time. If there is nothing else, we will take our leave." "Wife?" I glared at him, but he ignored me. James smiled. "Of course. But William, there's something I think I should remind you." "Please go ahead." "Sophia is someone who fears being tied down more than anything else." He spoke with a hint of meaning. "If you hold on too tightly, you might end up achieving the opposite of what you want." William's expression changed slightly, but he quickly regained his composure. "Thanks for the reminder. However..." He paused, looked at me with a gentle expression, and said, "I believe her." Until we left the gallery, William did not ask about James. In the car, I couldn't help but speak up. "Don't you want to know?" "Know what?" "About me and James." "That's your past." He focused on driving. "I have no right to ask." "But you just..." "Are you jealous?" He admitted it frankly. "Yes, I'm jealous. But that's my problem, not yours." I was stunned. The William the first knew was extremely possessive. But now, he was trying hard to control himself. William, you've changed a lot. People have to grow up, he laughed self-deprecatingly, though the price was a bit high. On the 5th day of the 1-month deadline, I didn't expect to receive a call from William's mother. Sophia, do you have time? Let's meet. Her voice was as elegant and cold as ever. We agreed to meet at a tea room with good privacy. Olivia was the same as ever, well-groomed and poised, but her eyes were like knives. I heard you're pregnant. She got straight to the point. Yes. Williams? Yes. She picked up her teacup and sipped elegantly. So, when do you plan to leave? I was stunned. What? Don't play dumb, Sophia. She put down her teacup. You were able to leave so decisively 3 years ago, so you should be able to do it now. I prepared this. She pushed over a check. The amount was staggering. What does that mean? Compensation. She said it matter-of-factly. You're carrying our child, and we won't treat you badly. But the condition is that you must completely leave William's life. I looked at the check and suddenly wanted to laugh. Olivia, did you make a mistake? What did I make a mistake about? First, I don't need money. Second, William is pursuing me, not the other way around. Third. I paused, your son is practically glued to me 24/7. Are you sure he'll agree? Olivia's expression changed. You think having a child will tie him down? Sophia, you're so naive. Our family needs a daughter-in-law who is a good match for our son, not a what? I interrupted her. A disobedient ex-daughter-in-law? You know it in your heart. I know it very well. I stood up. I know very well that you have looked down on me from the very beginning. You think I'm not good enough for your son, that I'm only after his money. Isn't that true? You're half right, I laughed. He's not good enough for me, but it's not that I'm not good enough for him. It's him who's not good enough for me. But now. I touched my belly. The William of today deserves a chance from me. You. Olivia, times have changed. I picked up my bag. Your approach to controlling your son's life is outdated. And keep this money. You may need it in the future to repair your relationship with him. I turned to leave, but Olivia called out to me, Sophia, you'll regret this. Maybe, I replied, turning back. But at least I lived for myself. As I stepped out of the tea room, I saw William's car parked at the entrance. He was leaning against the door, his face ashen. Did you hear everything? I asked. He walked over to me. I'm sorry. What are you apologizing for? For my mother's rudeness. He held my hand. Sophia, don't mind her. She doesn't know what she's talking about. William, your mother is still your mother. So what? He looked at me seriously. 3 years ago, I chose to listen to her, and I lost you. This time, I won't listen to anyone but myself. William has really changed a lot. He used to always put work first. Now, he will cancel important meetings to accompany me to prenatal checkups, get up in the middle of the night to make me a midnight snack, and gently pat my back when I have morning sickness. Is it worth it? I asked him once. What? To give up so much for a possibility. He stopped what he was doing and looked at me seriously. Sophia, you're not a possibility, you're my certainty. But we've already failed once. That was my failure, not ours. He held my hand. This time is different. I won't make the same mistake again. William, what do you want? I want you to love me. He said it as if it were obvious. Just as I love you. Love. When he said that word, it sounded both unfamiliar and familiar. 3 years ago, we rarely said I love you. We were adults, after all, and talking about love seemed childish. But looking back now, perhaps it was precisely because we were so stingy with our words that we grew apart. I don't know if I can love anymore, I confessed. It's okay, he kissed the palm of my hand. I can wait. Until you're ready. That night, I couldn't sleep. Lying in my familiar bed, smelling familiar scents, memories came flooding back. I remembered the first time we met, when I was drunk and flirted with him, and he blushed and avoided me. I remembered our first date, when he was so nervous that he spilled his coffee. I remember the day he proposed, kneeling down awkwardly but sincerely. I remember our wedding night, when he kissed me gently, as if I were a fragile treasure. I also remember how he became increasingly busy, and we communicated less and less. I remember countless nights spent alone in an empty room. When I thought back to signing the divorce agreement, he hadn't even shown up. Can't sleep, his voice came from beside me. I realized then that I had started crying without noticing. I'm sorry, he said, wiping away my tears. Sophia, I'm sorry. Does apologizing work? No, it doesn't. He admitted frankly, but apart from apologizing, I don't know what else I can do. William, do you know why I want a divorce? Because I neglected you. It's not just neglect. I turned to face him. You made me feel like I'm dispensable in your life. His body stiffened. That case is important, I know. But William, that day was our wedding anniversary. He closed his eyes, his voice hoarse, I know. You know, yet you still chose work. I laughed sarcastically, do you know what that feels like? Like I mean nothing to you. No. He opened his eyes wide. Sophia, you are everything to me. Then why? Because I thought you would understand. He said painfully, I thought you would always be there, that we had a lot of time. I was so selfish. Yes, you've always been so self-righteous. I'm sorry. He apologized again, if only we could start over. William, time can't be rewound. I interrupted him. I know. He took a deep breath. That's why I only want one future. A future with you and our child. The next morning, I was awakened by a pleasant aroma. William came in with breakfast. Are you awake? The doctor said you should eat small meals frequently. I looked at the exquisite breakfast and suddenly felt a lump in my throat. What's wrong? He nervously put down the tray. Are you feeling unwell? No. I shook my head. Then why are you crying? I'm not crying. You said you weren't crying. He cupped my face. Did I not cook it well? I'll go make it again. No. I pulled him back. It's just the hormones. He paused for a moment, then smiled, so that's how it is. What are you laughing at? Nothing. He sat down on the edge of the bed. I just think you look cute right now. What's cute about me? You're adorable everywhere. He leaned in and kissed my forehead. Especially when you're pregnant with me. My face flushed instantly. Who said I'm pregnant for you? All right, it's for the excellent genes. He went along with me, but his eyes were filled with adoration. When did this person become so good at sweet talking? By the way, would you like to accompany me somewhere today? He suddenly asked. Where? You'll see when we get there. He took me to a cemetery. I was surprised. Why did you bring me here? To see someone. He took my hand and led me inside. He stopped in front of a gravestone. The photo on the gravestone was of a kind-looking old woman. Grandma, he said. She always loved you. I remember my grandmother, a very kind old woman. When we were together, she would always hold my hand and tell William to cherish me. Grandma, William said to the tombstone, I brought Sophia. The wind blew, and the leaves rustled. Grandma, we have a baby. He continued, you would have been so happy if you were still here. My heart ached. My grandmother had passed away after my divorce, and I hadn't even been able to see her one last time. I'm sorry, I said to the gravestone. Silly, why are you apologizing? William put his arm around me. Grandma won't blame you. But she was still talking about you before she passed away, he said, his voice choked with emotion. She said I was too stupid to appreciate you. She said if I had woken up sooner, I wouldn't have lost you. William. She's right. He turned to face me. Sophia, I'm so stupid. I didn't realize how stupid I was until I lost you. Seeing his reddened eyes, my defenses completely collapsed. Don't cry. I raised my hand and wiped the tears from the corner of his eyes. I didn't cry. He turned his face away awkwardly. It's just the wind. I went along with him. He broke into a smile and pulled me into his arms. Sophia, can we start over? This time, I didn't refuse. After returning from the cemetery, the atmosphere subtly changed. I no longer deliberately avoided his closeness, and he no longer cautiously tested the waters. We interacted like a real married couple, except that we hadn't officially reconciled yet. Sophia, he suddenly called out to me that evening. HM? There's something I have to tell you. His expression was serious. What is it? I became nervous. It's about that case 3 years ago. I froze. That was the turning point in our marriage and the biggest knot in my heart. Actually, that case. He took a deep breath. It involves my father. What? My father made a mistake back then. If that case is lost, he might go to jail. William closed his eyes in pain. So I have to win, no matter what it takes. I stared at him in shock. So that was the truth. Why didn't you tell me? I didn't want you to worry, he said with a wry smile. I couldn't bring myself to tell you. So you'd rather I misunderstand than explain? I was so foolish, he said, holding my hand. I thought that by taking everything on myself, I was protecting you. But I didn't realize that not trusting you was the greatest harm of all. I was silent for a long time. Sophia, I know it's too late to say this now. But I want you to know that I never stopped caring about you. I know, I said softly. You, forgive me? I'm trying, I said, looking at him. But William, if it happens again. It won't happen again, he interrupted me. I swear, it won't happen again. The 1-month deadline was approaching. That morning, William got up earlier than usual. When I woke up, the house was decorated like a garden. What's this? I asked in surprise, looking at the house filled with calla lilies. It's the last day. He emerged from the flowers, holding a box. I want to do this properly. He knelt down on one knee and opened the box. Inside was not a ring, but a key. What is this? The keys to our new house, he said. It has a large garden, perfect for children to grow up in. William. Let me finish, he said, taking a deep breath. Sophia, this past month has been the happiest time of my life in the last 3 years. I know I don't deserve to ask for anything, but I still want to say. I love you, and I never have. If you want, we can move into a new house and start over. I'm not asking you to forgive me right away. We can take it slow, like getting to know each other again. If you don't want to. His voice trailed off. The key is still yours. The house is in your name, and you and the children can live there. I will keep my promise and not bother you again. Seeing the anxiety and anticipation in his eyes, I suddenly felt like laughing. William. Huh? Did you forget something? He looked at me in confusion. I held out my left hand. Where's the ring? He froze for 3 whole seconds, then pulled the ring box out of another pocket with wild joy. Here. I thought you didn't need it. Who said I didn't need it? I glared at him. You're proposing without a ring? What do you think I am? He fumbled with the box, took out the diamond ring, and said, Sophia, will you marry me again? I looked at him, at this clumsy yet sincere man, and finally smiled genuinely for the first time in a month. I will. The moment the ring slipped onto my ring finger, he was so excited that he stood up and picked me up, spinning me around. Gently. I hit him. There's the baby. That's right. He carefully put me down and gently stroked my belly. Baby, can you hear me? Mom and Dad are going to give you a complete family. 3 months later, we held a small wedding in our new home. There was no grand celebration, we only invited our closest friends. William said that his first marriage had been too formal, and this time he only wanted people who truly wished us well to be there. Do you regret it? He asked me before signing. Regret what? Regret giving me a second chance. I shook my head. No, I don't regret it. Why? Because I touched my already visible belly, the baby needs a father. Just because of the baby? I tiptoed and pressed a kiss on his lips, and because I love you. He paused for a moment, then held me tightly. Say it again. I love you, William. I love you too, Sophia. He whispered in my ear, this time, I'll prove it with my whole life.